got my headphones on.
Happy 2023 and welcome to the latest edition of the Motor City Riffs podcast. I'm your host, Chuck Bean. Every Sunday night at 9 p.m., I give you a full hour of music from right here in the Motor City on 101 WRIF. But for the podcast, we do something a little bit different. We get together with these local bands. We sit down and we kind of figure out what makes them tick. And tonight we are in the room. I'm gonna right out the gate. I've got a question for you guys before I even get through my intro. Is it Cyadine or Cyadine?
Cyadine.
Cyadine. We are in the studio with Cyadine, everybody. Thank you very much. No, it's always weird because obviously Screaming Scott has been my co-host for the last 2 years on Motor City Riffs, and whenever we play you guys, it's like, I don't know.
Scott, you could have called me, bro.
It changes. It changes every time, and I'm pretty sure he's been saying Cyadine the whole time.
Yeah,
it's my fault
My brother.
that I've been mispronouncing it.
Fuzzy.
Yeah, exactly. What? If it was Cyadine, why did you just use a Y instead of an I in the second half of it?
I had no part in it.
I really don't know.
Yeah. I think that would have been cool, but it is what it is.
Probably,
now.
yeah.
Right.
We're going to change the name.
Yeah.
Hey, all right. Motor City Riffs exclusive. All right, so let's go around the room and introduce you to the band. On my left here, we've got on the drums, we've got Benny.
Yeah.
And then in the middle here on guitars, we got Noah.
Yes, sir.
And then we've got Tony, the vocalist, on my right here. How you guys doing tonight?
Fantastic.
Happy to
Pretty
be
good.
here.
Yes, great to
Had
be
a great show the other day.
Yeah, I saw that you guys just played. Was it last weekend or was it like right on New Year's?
It was the day before New Year's Eve.
Day before New Year's, yeah. And that was your release party
Yes.
for your latest EP.
Yep.
We'll get into that. Actually, let's get into that now. Your new EP, Formidable. Tell people about it.
Are you looking at me?
All right, cool.
Well, okay. It's funny because we've had it recorded and I think done since mid to late last year.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it took an unbelievable amount of time to get it completely out because we had lineup changes and
Sure.
Yeah, that was
trying
an
and
ordeal.
shows and stuff and trying to figure out how press works and all that sort of stuff. So and a lot of the songs, like I think some of the songs were written even as far back as 2020.
Uh-huh.
So does that sound right?
Yeah.
Late 2020, early 2021.
Early 2020.
Really? What
Yeah,
song?
the first one, we did What Lies Ahead, which that's not out.
Well, yeah, but
And then we did Black White Blood. That was the
Oh,
second
yeah.
one.
So, yeah,
right,
okay.
right after the first EP we did.
yeah. So
So when you said you had some lineup changes too, when you had lineup changes, did you have to like go back in the studio and like have them lay down parts?
No, the lineup changes were that we lost our singer Aaron Gilbert, who's on there, and then we lost his brother, the other guitar player. But
Right.
both of their parts are still on there because it was already done, and we're not going to
Yeah.
go back just to. We didn't add anyone. We lost people. You know what I mean? So
Sure. And
But,
so I'm assuming that you also like having all that time before it came out, you weren't tempted to like, man, I could add a little bit more guitar solo in there. I could put it.
we were happy with it.
Yeah, that's good.
And, it just
Where did you record it?
Pearl Sound Studios in Canton, Michigan, with Chuck Ocasian and Jason Hartless.
Yeah.
Excellent. They do a lot of good stuff.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
How was your experience working with them?
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, shit. How long has it been? 2 years that we've been doing this with Chuck?
It's coming on 2 years. It'll be like January, February-ish.
So wild.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a load of fun from start to finish. It's just been so long that we've been working on it, and then like
Yeah.
doing newer stuff, and then waiting for this to come out, and then just me being an idiot and procrastinating on getting this artwork.
Yeah, we did a lot of procrastinating last year, and
So I'm guessing Benny and Noah, you guys are on the recording, but what about Tony?
He is
Tony
not on
the
it at all.
recording.
No.
Not yet.
No.
What is what is that like for you? Like knowing, like having to sit on an album that you're not even on. Like, are you just chomping at the bit to get in the studio? And
I'm very ready to make my mark.
Yeah.
You could
Yeah.
say that. It was I mean, it was not like it was weird or anything because I mean, I could understand like they had it done and it sounds good. And
Yeah.
I like it, so I was fine with it. But I'm definitely ready to make my mark. I'm ready to
Sure.
get in there, let people hear me.
Sure.
But
So let's go back to the beginnings of the band. Like I said, the band name is Cyadine.
correct.
How did you guys pick that name, and what does it mean to you?
So when we started the band, it was me and my brother, and we're twins, and we're like, oh, we'll do like the Dimebag Vinny thing, and it was cool. And then we found Shane, and then we were like, what are we gonna name the band? So then, of course, we're like huge early metal fans, and we were like, well, Anthrax is kind of like, I don't know. Yeah, I was like, we were just fixating on stuff like Anthrax, like Biohazard, and
You just like going through the list of poisons.
yeah,
trying
pretty
to figure
much,
it
and
out.
just like anything that like related to some sort of chemical warfare, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
And
Mustard gas.
so we said cyanide.
There is an alternate reality where you guys ended up being mustard gas.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, and then we just found cyanide, and we were like, oh, let's look that up because we're like, we're not gonna name the band if someone else already has it.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's a common thing, which is weird.
It is cool now. Like it was when I was naming my band in like the 90s, we didn't have this capability. But
Right.
now when you have it, you can immediately go to like Spotify or iTunes and punch in a band name and see if somebody's got it already.
Yeah.
Or even Google.
Right.
And just like Cyadine band and
Yeah.
see
Oh,
what
yeah.
pops up.
And nothing
And-
came up.
Eddie kept screwing it up and was like cyanide, and my dad was like, that's it. And I'm like, bro, he's saying it wrong. He's and he was like, I know, no one's
That's
gonna
the
forget
problem.
it. They have to say it 3 times to remember it. And I'm
Right.
like, oh my god, you're right. So then we just kind of stuck with it. And then I drew the logo, and then we just went from there.
So you drew the logo.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. Because like you guys have, do you have any aspirations to like improve it?
The logo?
I'm not saying it's I'm
We
not saying it's
tried.
crappy.
Oh,
but
yeah,
I'm just
I know.
saying that like I've in seeing it, I'm like, well, somebody drew that for sure.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah, for sure.
Have you seen the
like
latest
the
version of it on the?
on the Formidable record,
Yeah.
yeah.
We kind of like. I don't know.
I like that. I like that one with like kind of the metal
Yeah, like
edge
the
to it
bevel.
because it
beveled
feels
we
edges.
megadethed it.
it feels very 80s heavy metal record,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
which is really cool.
I've grown to it. I love it. I don't.
Yeah.
I just like the
We
raw.
we might try in the future, but I just can't.
Dude, I
can't see us
tried doing
having
it
another one.
recently. Me and Michelle sat down and tried to like
Yeah.
even everything out. It looked like shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Like, yeah,
I was
let's
like,
just
this is
leave it
not
alone.
it.
And not a lot of people know this, but the first time he drew it on his arm. Show him.
I'm gonna have a tattoo.
Yeah, that's what I'm not making a joke.
Right.
Yeah, you can't
right.
change it now.
Yeah, and then I tattooed it.
Well, you tattooed over where it said mustard gas. is
Right,
what it is.
right.
And it ended up cyanide.
I just
Right.
remember not even being in the band and seeing all the cool artwork that they were coming out with
Right.
years before, and I was like, wow, this is a really cool logo.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty stoked on it.
So do you do most, if not all, the artwork for the band?
I wish.
He
lot
just
of
did
the
the logo and
concepts.
said, whatever.
No, I did the logo. I tried doing stuff. I mean, I did. There's a concept art before Awaiting the Return, which is our first EP before we got the whole devil head.
Yeah.
And I took art class, and I was like, oh, here it was like looked like a graveyard with a guy coming out of it. And then we had that done. I know a lot of people know about it because our patches have it on it,
Sure.
but it just looked like shit. And then I had the devil stuff done. I just wanted it,
Yeah.
and then it ended up being something that we wanted, and we just used it.
Nice. Nice. So you were speaking briefly about the origins of the band, how you guys got together.
Yeah.
What was, so you originally you were a 3-piece.
Well, we start like me and Eddie grew up in Centerline, and
Okay.
then Centerline's graduating rate sucked, so we moved to Fraser, and their music program's
You
phenomenal.
could have brought the numbers up by just staying.
They wouldn't have helped anything.
You're actually making it worse.
Yeah. And we moved to Fraser, and then Shane was sitting there playing, I think Tommy the Cat, Primus,
Okay.
and I looked at him, and I just really started like taking drums seriously, and he'd been playing guitar since like 7th grade, and this is freshman year of high school, and he's like, we should talk to him. So we did, and I'm like, are you in a band? He was like, no. I was like, how long have you been playing bass? He was like, I don't know, like 8 months.
8 months and he's already like
and
playing
I was
Primus.
like 8 months.
Exactly.
And then we just started doing stuff, playing really shitty covers. We ended up playing in Pennsylvania with Mad Viking Beard Company, and we did Seasons of the Abyss with my dad and my Uncle Bob. And then we met Noah when we moved into the house in Fraser from Jason Niku, which was our neighbor at the time. And he was like, yeah, there's this kid named Noah, and he's really good. And then he's like, he sings. We're like, well, we don't have a singer. So he can just play guitar and sing. Whatever.
Right.
2 guitar players.
So yeah, that was, and then I joined, and then I was the singer for 4 years, from like 2017 to 2021.
Yeah.
I started to blow my voice out, and I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Like, and then I was like, well, there's this guy named Aaron from this band called Guitar Assistant. I really like his voice, so I just want to play guitar anyways. Let's get him.
I was gonna say, if you'd had your choice when they came to you, would you have rather have just played guitar or just sang?
No, at the time I was really into singing because I could do it still. I was singing in another band at the time as well. And I was a Dave Mustaine freak, so I was like, I got to be just like him, man.
Sure.
And I did it for 4 years, and then it just ruined it. But that's okay because the way things worked out is much better, so.
Well, let's get into the first song here that you guys brought me. This is off of your new record, Formidable.
Yep.
It's called Blood Trail.
Yep.
Anything you want to tell the listeners about Blood Trail before they possibly hear it for the first time?
Give a brief explanation of what it's about. Basically, it's just about doing things to benefit yourself, even though they might unintentionally harm other people, like getting rid of toxic people in your life or toxic things, and just, you're leaving a blood trail of hurting people, but it's not malicious. It's just, you got to put you first, right? So, yeah, that's pretty much what it's about.
All right, well, let's give it a listen. This is Blood Trail from Cyadine, and we'll be back with the Motor City Riff podcast. Welcome back to the Motor City Riffs podcast. I'm your host, Chuck Bean. I'm sitting here with Benny, Noah, and Tony of Cyadine, and you just heard their song Blood Trail here on the podcast. You guys just, as we mentioned before, you guys just released this just before New Year's.
Mm-hmm.
You guys had a record release party / concert. It was a Diesel Concert Lounge, wasn't it?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
How do you guys like playing the Diesel?
It's our home venue, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been playing. That was our first show. Well, the first show with me and the band. And
My
then
first show. Well, yeah, my first show.
Well, whatever. But anyways, yeah, we've played there a lot over the past.
I love
5 years.
the little arcade that's just outside the one room.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
it's so much
amazing.
fun.
Yeah.
But they've got an excellent stage. They got a really good sound system.
Yep.
And honestly, I think I can see when you say that it's your home venue. Like, you guys have a vibe that says to me Diesel Concert Lounge. Like, these guys.
Yeah.
If these guys are, if you're going to see a concert at the Diesel Concert Lounge, these guys are probably going to be on the bill.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. That's cool, man. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I mean that in the most positive way.
Yeah. No, I took it that way. It's
Absolutely.
Yeah, we love playing
Yeah,
there.
we love the Diesel.
Yeah, and Formidable, I think, as I mentioned before, sounds great.
Thank you.
Not only is the production level is really crisp and really tight, but your guys playing on the records is very, very tight as well, which is something that you have to be in heavy metal.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that something that attracted you guys to the genre, the preciseness of playing it?
I think when we all were starting to listen to it, we didn't even recognize that because we were just kids.
Yeah.
We just liked it because, we just liked it.
Nobody else did
Yeah.
when we were kids,
Yeah.
Just because it was heavy.
I
Some
like
of my
being
first
the one
memories are
guy.
listening to metal. So.
Like the one guy in middle school listening to the old school metal, and
Yeah.
nobody else understood it. So that's where I kind of took.
So
to
while
it.
you were listening to the old school metal, what was everybody else listening to?
Garbage, man.
I say the same, yeah.
Garbage. What was coming out, like One Direction, Justin Bieber was pretty big.
So a lot of the pop music.
a lot of stuff that I'm not into. Maybe.
So
not
what
for
would
me.
you? Well, let's go around the room. Let's start with you, Tony. What would you say are your inspiration bands for
This
performing
genre?
in this band?
Definitely Power Trip, Exodus, Slayer,
Yeah.
Pantera for sure. Can't deny that one. Yeah, it's that, and I take a lot of hardcore punk and old school punk influences
Rollins.
as well, like Henry Rollins, yeah. Minor Threat, Cro-Mags, definitely. Yeah, I'm wearing a Cro-Mags shirt.
Right.
Bad Brains.
What about you, Noah?
Megadeth, Metallica, Anthrax, Slayer, the big four, obviously.
Yeah.
Overkill, Pantera.
I'm glad you said Anthrax and Megadeth because I hear a lot of both of those bands in your.
Thank you. Yeah,
in the
Alice in
playing.
Chains too.
Yeah.
With the harmonies and stuff. Yeah, Overkill.
So, what about you, Benny? What would be your inspiration to your drumming in Cyadine?
Definitely, everything for me started at Pantera.
Yeah.
Gojira for sure, and Power Trip was my big three. Anthrax and Drain and fuck. There's so many. Overkill.
If Shane was here, what do you guys think his answer would be?
Oh my god.
Definitely Metallica.
Pantera would come out.
Yeah.
Megadeth.
Yeah.
Doyle. No.
Doyle.
Yeah, Doyle. He's all about Doyle.
It's interesting because you guys like all have very similar, like it's all the big name heavy metal
Yeah,
bands
it's
are all
pretty in
very
there.
influential on you, and that's
Oh yeah.
Is that something that, like, as you were putting the band together, was that something that was at all important to you, that like you all kind of had a similar not so much style but a similar taste in like what type of metal you enjoyed?
When it was me, you, Benny, and me, you, Eddie, and Shane, it was
Yeah.
like Pantera.
Well, yeah, Pantera and Megadeth too. Because like before I met Noah, I was like Megadeth.
Yeah, and then I was like, you gotta check out Megadeth.
Yeah.
And then I finally did, and then I was just like, wow.
And then for like 4 years, we were just trying to become like a Pantera Megadeth hybrid.
Yeah.
The whole time.
and we got shit for it, but it's fine.
Yeah. Well, because you can't make a post saying this is what would have happened if Vinny and Dime would have joined Megadeth, because
And
it
we
almost
did that.
happened.
We
Yeah.
did
And I
that.
made that post, and people were like, "Shut up."
Yeah.
I was just
We were,
trying
I
to
don't
get
know, we were like
promotion, man.
Well,
15.
you live and you learn, man.
Yeah.
So with that being said, with those as your influences, do you guys do any covers when you play live?
Oh yeah.
What are you covering?
In the early days, it was all Pantera and Megadeth, but
Conjuring.
yeah, but
The Sleep.
yeah, the sleep, like the deepest of deep cuts, and
Hey, you're talking to somebody who like cut his teeth playing Nirvana covers.
Oh,
so
there you go.
like I
Oh,
totally
yeah.
get it.
yeah. We just did Shedding Skin by Pantera at our release show,
Nice.
and then we
So
did
Feel the pressure.
Feel the Pressure by Drain, which is one of our influences. They're a new hardcore band, and we actually are in contact with them, and we've met them, and they like us, and we're talking about doing stuff with them. So
That's
it's kinda-
cool. Have they heard your cover?
Yeah, the guitar player Cody, shout out Cody. He said we smashed it, and I was like, oh, that's so
They're
cool.
such nice
Yeah.
people.
They're
I bet.
amazing.
Yeah, that's got to be because like that's the fear, right? Is that you do the cover and then the person who wrote the song hears the cover and they're like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like when Ted Nugent heard Pantera doing
Cat
Cat
Scratch.
Scratch and said
He was like, these washed up fucking.
I don't even want.
hick,
He
like-
said something really mean. It was like,
Right.
God damn, dude.
Wait, you heard you guys doing that?
No, Ted Nugent heard Pantera's cover of Cat
Oh.
Scratch.
He
That's
hated it.
yeah.
He was
Oh,
like, bro.
shit.
He
they had
basically
no
was like, it
groove or
sounds like you
something?
guys are on drugs. I
thought it
hate
was
it.
Great.
Well, it's one more thing me and Ted Nugent don't see eye to eye on, I suppose. So let's talk about the gear that you guys all use, because that can be very important to
Oh,
to
yeah.
your sound. And I'm curious if some guitar players will just pick up any. We've had guys on the podcast that is like, I'll just play anything as long as it's. But then there's other people that are like, no, it's got to be specific. And I'm getting the impression, especially from Noah, that gear is very
He
important.
just like bleeds off him.
Yeah. So what type? Let's start with you, Benny. What type of gear are you using?
I have a custom DW drum set. It's black and gold. It's all huge tom sizes. It's
Yeah.
14, 15, 18 with a 24 kick. I use Sabian cymbals, Remo heads, ProMark sticks. Very meticulous about it.
Very much.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a specific sound you look for with the drums that like
Yeah.
you can get out of this combination of stuff.
And like when I bought it, I bought it right out of high school because I'm like, all right, if I get graduation money, I'm just gonna blow it,
Yeah,
and I'm just gonna do it on the drum set because I'm never gonna have to buy another one.
that's pretty cool.
So I did it. I was saving up all my cymbals and stands beforehand, so it was like, turned a senior and was like, I'm just gonna get the drums.
You're talking about graduating high school, and I have to ask because you guys all look young as fuck. How old are you, Benny?
I turned 20 November 15th.
Noah?
I turned 19 in July.
Oh my
I'm
god,
gonna be 23 on Saturday.
y'all babies.
I'm the old man.
Young
of
and
the group.
stupid.
What about you, Noah? What are you playing?
Jackson Rhodes V's for the guitars, and they all have like EMG 81s in them, 85s. Strings are lately Diodario 9 to 46, and then as far as like actual rigs go, 2 Mesa Boogie 4x12 cabinets, so a full stack, and then 2 Orange Pedal Babies powering a quad Cortex, and that's basically my head and my pedal board and everything. And that my tone is a dime. I'm not sure exactly which model dime head, but a dime head captured and then
Yeah.
tweaked a little bit. And then
Interesting.
I just got a lead channel and my clean, and that's it.
It's great when you don't step on it.
Yeah,
Or Eddie steps on it.
on it when he's coming
During
on
the
stage.
show.
Noah, do you have any specific gear that you have to use for your vocals?
Just my throat.
Just-
Um,
What kind of throat are you rocking?
This one. I do drink a lot of honey, and I
Yeah.
usually
He does do
sing
that.
through a Shure Super 55. That's what we
Yeah.
practice with.
Excellent.
But
Excellent. I'm a guitar player myself. once you got past your cabs, I have no idea what you're talking about anymore.
Oh, okay. So I'll break it down just a little bit. So like a Line 6 Helix, like a processor.
That's the pedal board processor.
Yeah,
thing?
it's like the most modern kick-ass version of that.
Right.
It's amazing. It's called the Quad Cortex Binaural DSP. And then the pedal babies are just power amps to power it. So they're kind of like heads in
Okay.
a way. So yeah, and I got 2 of those because I'm running 2 cabinets.
They're like little generators for your quad cortex.
Yeah, exactly. So it's I never really cared about my tone before. I kind of just like whatever was okay.
Sure.
And then as soon as we got going with this, started experimenting, and I found something that I like thanks to our tech Bob Pask. Shout out to him. And he helped us with it, and I don't even want to tone chase anymore. I'm just happy with that.
Figuring out guitar tones is weird, man.
It's annoying because I just want to fucking play, you know?
Well, sure, but like at the same time, like once you've had a good tone and then you can't find it again, it's awful.
No, this is set. There's no like it's like in a a bank, so I can't.
Yeah.
It's there, and I love it. And it's
Right.
awesome.
I have a problem where I'll play with a certain tone for a while and then I'll like record a demo with it.
Yeah.
And then I'll actually hear the tone. I'll be like, oh, that's nasty.
yeah,
Why am I using that?
When I heard this in the studio, I hear this. I didn't use it on Formidable, unfortunately, at that time. But when I hear it in recording or on stage or in any setting, I always love it. So I'm like,
That's
just
good.
Fucking leave it. It's good.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
I got a question for you, Benny. How do you tune drums?
Okay, when I first started, horrible. Literally, like, I did high school marching band, and it was fine.
But like, what is the science to tuning drum? I don't get it. I never understood it. And you sound like somebody who might have this answer.
You got to stand on them.
I do that.
It's not a joke.
That's-
Stand on 'em?
So, you know how, like, you stretch your strings?
Yeah, for sure.
With, like, my drum heads.
So you got to stretch the heads.
So I stand on it.
Okay.
I saw a video of a guy, like, jumping on it, and I was like, all right, that's, like...
That's excessive.
That's scary.
Right.
But I guess the best way I can explain it, and I'm probably wrong. I mean, I don't know, but
Well, I'm asking how you tune drums.
that's true. I typically just take the top head and I use that as like, I guess the best way I can describe it is like the top head is like what note I want to do and the bottom is the decay. So like how long I want my drums to sustain for.
Interesting. So what the more loose the bottom head is, the more decay it has?
Right.
Oh,
And then,
interesting.
but it's weird because I do something that I would get yelled at for by my drum teacher, but so you're supposed to make all the like tension rods the same. They're all supposed to be the same.
Yes.
I don't do that.
No, you
So-
just keep tightening
so
this one, the one
I-
closest to you, until you get the sound you want.
Kind of. I get it to where I have it where it doesn't sound like all the notes are freaking out with each other,
Uh-huh.
and then the center two is basically what controls my tuning, and the ones across are what I use to like basically.
So there's still a science to
fine
it.
yeah, it's
It's
like
just
my
not
fine tuning.
The way you were taught to do it.
if I told like any drum nerd that, they'd be like, "That's no."
Right.
But god damn it, you watch live clips of us. His kit sounds like a goddamn cannon.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
works.
I try. Yeah,
Fuck.
It works.
I do love it.
So what kind of snare do you like? Do you like a real tight snare, or do you like it kind of loose and kind of like
It's kind of an in
with
between.
stain to it?
So I make sure my bottom head's tight, but the top head's loose. So you get the hot. It basically sounds like it's a baseball hitting a wood bat. Is
Okay.
the best way to
So
describe
good.
it.
It's so good.
That's cool.
So I have low end to it where it like cuts through everything, but it
Right.
still has like a really good crack to it.
Can you explain to us why Lars's snare in Saint Anger is so bad?
Because the snare's off.
You don't have to.
That's
You
the
know,
only- that's
I
the
tried
answer.
to think of something, and I'm like, everything's gonna be so mean.
The
I don't really care.
This is just the reality. He turned his snare off like that. There's a switch.
So
you
it's
can-
just a very high tom. That's why it's just bong, bong, bong,
yeah,
bong.
pretty much. I mean, that's essentially. Wouldn't that be correct? Without
Well, people say just turn the snare off. It's not. He just loosened the snares to the point where it was just going.
so it's
Like,
not even.
yeah.
It's not even touching the
It's
bottom.
not even
head.
really touching.
It's just like if he hit it hard enough, it would just like kind of flutter on the bottom and sound like you're trying to like cough up a fucking hairball. But
Yeah.
It's like a seltzer water of a snare.
yeah,
Yeah.
his
Like
snare
flavor
sounds
in the
Yeah.
same room as as a fruit.
Right.
It's so bad.
So when you guys, obviously, once again, you guys are very meticulous about your sound, and
Right.
Yep.
when you take it to the studio, have producers ever had to tweak anything in order to
Yeah.
get the sound that you want out of what you're doing?
So when we did the first EP for the drums in the sound shop, the room was way smaller.
Yeah.
And I had it wasn't my DW kit either. It was the probably the second shitty kit I got. So like that was pretty easy to figure out because the drums were smaller, the room was smaller, so it was kind of, it sounded fine. But when we went to Pearl, the room is huge,
Right.
and I had huge drums, and I had never dealt with that before, and I didn't really know those drums as well as I should have at the time. So when I started playing everything, Chuck and Jason Harless were like, bro, we need to get in there and like help you. So we had to like sit down for like a half hour and kind of like tune everything to how we thought it should sound. Then we got it, and it sounds great. But that was such a process.
Was it the kind of thing that like once you guys figured out the tuning in the studio, that's the drum tuning you use from here on out kind of thing? Or was it specific to like this tuning sounds good in this room recording these songs, and then I can go back to what I like?
That's pretty much what it was, just because the room's so different. So like we practice now at the building we own, and the practice space is probably the same like size of this room, just laid out a little different.
Right.
So like they sound a lot different when I'm in like that room versus the Pearl because it's just so much bigger.
Right.
But yeah, it's just completely different. Depends on the room.
So I feel bad, Tony, because I haven't really focused on you very
I'm
much
new.
while we've been talking about it. Right.
I'm a
Like
new
you're
guy.
not on the album. You're new to the thing. But I do want to, kind of learn more about you as well. Before singing for Cyadine, you've been in other bands, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'm actually, so Shane and I have another band called Disorderlies where we do hardcore punk,
Okay.
and that's where my vocals first came out. Like I've always been around the scene because my brother was in a band with Noah when they were younger, and I've known Noah for a long time. We used to compete with each other at AGM.
Sure.
And I had never sang before, and then I put this band together. I was playing guitar, and kind of turned into, we didn't have a singer, so I said, I guess I'll try it. And actually came to really like it, found out that I could scream, and after that, it's like Aaron left, and Benny called me one day. He's like, hey, would you ever consider singing for Cyadine? I was like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. I'll learn it. And then other than that, I play guitar in Apocalypse. It's a thrash band.
Okay.
That's actually with my brother Thomas, who was in a band with Noah.
Excellent. How did you you said like you started singing and then you figured out you could scream. Like how did that come about?
I don't remember.
Did you just like, I'm gonna try this cover, I'm gonna try this song, and then you're like, oh, I can hit that. That's fun.
We had wrote a song, and my vocals at the time, like I'd never tried to sound really aggressive. I used to sing like country, rockabilly, like I was really into that kind of stuff. And we wrote one of the first Disorderly songs, and it sounded too weak, and I was like, I can't sing a hardcore punk song sounding like this, so we got to figure it out. And eventually, I just kind of sat there and started yelling and unlocked my scream. Figured out how to do it. At first it sounded pretty similar to like some old Phil stuff, Pantera. And
you said that you drink a lot of tea with honey or something like that. What kind of stuff do you do to try and maintain your vocal cords so that you can continue to do it in the way that you want to?
I'm pretty careful about when I do sing. I'm careful about like not overdoing it at practice.
Yeah.
But I also still have to work out the muscle,
For sure.
All day at work, like I'm running machines at work, so I'll listen to our tracks and I'll sit there and try to plan my breaths to the song and work on pushing the air out of my diaphragm.
Mm-hmm.
So learning how to do that kind of stuff has really helped out my voice, for the better. Because before I was just kind of using all my chest air. I didn't realize how to properly sing, so I was blowing my voice out left and right.
I never learned how to properly sing myself, which is why, going back to, like I said, I cut my teeth playing Nirvana covers.
Yeah.
It's nice. I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but it's nice to hear that you sang for a while until you were like, I can't do this, because that's exactly what I ran into as well.
Yeah.
Where I was like, I never learned to properly sing, so I just blew these out.
Exactly.
And I was like, well, I guess those days are over.
It was fun for a while. I was getting okay at it, and then I just started screaming. And then we did a demo of Hatespiration when I was still singing, and it was like the last my swan song of singing, and it sounds really good, but I was doing a line, and then and then,
have to keep punching in line to line so that you can get your breath.
At that point, I'm like, why am I even bothering? I can't. It just doesn't work.
So what is it like for you, Noah, to come into the band that already has these established songs, that already has much less established lyrics, but also established vocal melodies? Like, how are you trying to match what Noah has already laid down? Or are you making it your own?
It was definitely interesting at first. I had to really figure out pronunciation and everything. I wasn't too bad. Like once I had learned songs, I could easily, I could sing melodies without a problem. But it was definitely a pretty big learning curve trying to, breathe properly.
Sure.
Hit the notes that they were hitting before, I add a little bit of my own style to what's existing, but in general, I try to match as best I can.
Right.
But I add my own little taste here and there.
I guess on the other side of that, when you guys brought Tony in, like how much of that was, how much of you when he started singing your songs were you like, I need you to hit these notes, and how much of it was like, dude, do it your way?
I think we just told him to learn the songs, and I kind of think it went without saying maybe that he was going to bring his own flair into it. And
right.
The first practice, it was just the notes are still there. It's just more aggressive.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we wanted anyways.
That's
so
cool.
It just worked out, from day one. And he's worked his ass off since then, and he's only gotten better and better and better. So we could not be happier.
Well, let's go into another song before we talk anymore. And the second song you guys wanted us to play is actually, I believe, the first song on the new record, Hatespiration.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to tell people about Hatespiration?
Thank you for making it do as well as it did, and thank you for playing it as many times as you guys have.
It's a great fucking song, man.
It's I guess it's our hit, quote unquote, because it's got the most streams on all the services and everything. But so just it's we're really proud of it, and it's a cool song, and we're
Pumps
all right.
you up. Pump you up.
Yeah, good workout music.
Right, exactly.
All right, well, let's hear it. It's Hatespiration from Cyadine.
Yeah.
Still doing it wrong. Still doing it wrong. It's Hatespiration from Cyadine. We'll be back with more of the Motor City Riffs podcast. All right, that's the big hit. Hatespiration. It's Cyadine. I got it right this time. Cyadine on the Motor City Riffs podcast. Chuck Mead sitting in with Benny, Noah, and Tony from the guys, the band Cyadine. You said your bass player Shane couldn't make it because he had a very important appointment in Cleveland.
Yeah,
it's his job.
Yeah, so we're missing you here, Shane. But hey, maybe we'll have you guys back in a couple months, and then Shane
sounds
can
good
show
to
for
us.
that one too.
Oh shit!
Oh my god!
What have you done?
We're not coming back in a couple months.
Charge the record company for that one.
No, that's quite all right. There are headphones all over the studio, and I don't know if any of them work.
These ones don't now.
So yeah, Hatespiration, great song, very cool stuff. So looking at this is something I've only gotten to ask one other band this, but I'm interested about your songwriting as well as this question that I'm leading up to. So if you look on the EP on like say on streaming, you've got 5 songs in the EP and 3 of them are marked for explicit lyrics.
Yep.
And I'm wondering. Is that something you guys think about at all when you're writing your songs, especially specifically lyric wise of this is going to have a swear word in it, so it might not get any radio play, or it might turn people off with the explicit.
It doesn't. It's kind of it's just genuine, like the stories or whatever inspired the song.
Sure.
So when you're telling a story to someone, you use expletives if it's just like your normal voice.
Absolutely.
So there's no filter we put it through of like, oh, is that gonna be okay? It's like, no, I fucking say that, so fucking song. It's just that's all there is to it.
I do agree with that, but I also lately I've been trying to write not less angry, because I like to write angry, but I'm trying to write more intellectually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
trying to
more vulgar.
It's the kind of thing like I can tell. The 3 of you all being into metal, of course, you're big Midnight Metal listeners.
Yes.
And I get to produce that show with Al Beck. And even though heavy metal is not a genre that like typically I gravitate towards, I do find it interesting that if you look at some of the biggest names, if you look at like the Judas Priests and the Ozzy Osbournes and the Ronnie James Dios, and like they get it done, years into their career, obviously without resorting to dropping an F-bomb. But I also agree with you guys where like if the song necessitates it, fucking do it, man.
Right. Sometimes it feels better to say that. You're expressing yourself.
Yeah.
Most of just how I am is, just try to be raw.
I just like to call bands out on it because when you do it, I gotta censor it.
Right.
It's
I
my
mean,
job to do it, and
it's hard for
you're
you.
giving me more work to do.
Would Laid to Rest be as cool if fucking Randy didn't say "see who gives a fuck"? If he said "see who gives a crap"? Like it wouldn't be.
Right.
You know what I
Who gives
mean?
a heck?
Or "see who gives a care." Like you know what I mean? It's just not
I
the
can get
same.
behind "See Who Gives a Heck." That's pretty funny, honestly. So let's talk about your songwriting. When you guys write songs, like how do Cyadine songs come into being? Is it start with like Noah? Do you come in with a guitar riff and then everybody kind of bangs out a song, or does somebody come in with like here's a song?
Right. It's
Right.
changed over the years. It started with either me bringing in a full song or maybe just a riff, or Eddie used to bring in a lot of riffs. And there's actually 2 songs Eddie wrote most of on Formidable.
Right.
So it could be like that. But lately I'll start with a riff, and then either Shane will write something. That Shane's always been like, he's coming clutch for we need a part, and Shane will be like, I got this random riff, and I'm like, that's perfect.
Oh, dude.
He
Shane-
always does
That's
that.
funny.
He's like an
the most-
encyclopedia of.
Yeah.
It's the most
Anything.
natural
That's funny because
musician
I've
ever
also
met.
experienced that.
Yeah,
Like,
just guys
I had a bass player that was
Well-
like, Ronnie, we need a chorus, and he'd just
Yeah.
play something and be like,
Right.
that's
Yeah,
the chorus
that's,
now.
That's exactly what happens. So it's changing and it's becoming more collaborative. But we've had songs come from a drum beat or just a line. Like it comes from anywhere. It really just
Yeah.
depends on the song.
Yeah.
So
Have you got to experience any of like the songwriting yet, Noah? With you guys putting together new songs?
Yeah, I've been part of it.
Or
lately,
no,
you know.
I'm sorry, Tony.
No, that's
Yeah.
all right. I've been whenever I've come up with a lot of the new lyrics.
Yeah.
On
Yeah.
stuff that hasn't been. We did play one song that I wrote
2.
lyrics to.
Oh well, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Yeah, I've written lyrics for like 3-4 of the new songs now,
Right.
and
So what is that like? How does that process happen? Are you just at practice and they're just banging
No.
away at a riff and you're just sitting there like,
never happens at practice. Honestly.
No?
It's usually like I'll rack my brain about it for a long time. For it'd be weeks, days. It's just trying to draw inspiration, and once I start feeling a certain way, I can just like write exactly what I'm thinking. And
Interesting.
Usually, I can twist that into a song.
so
Or-
do the words come before the music, or does the music come first and then
Music
you
comes
put the
first
words to the
every
music?
time. Yeah, the music comes first every time.
Interesting.
I have lately been trying to just write where I'm just writing what I think or what I feel.
Sure.
or
Then it feels like
trying
a poem, and you're like,
Yeah.
it's
That's
weird.
how a lot
to-
of Misfits songs came about, actually.
Oh well, that explains
Oh.
a lot. Just did it again.
Yeah, I forget which. I think Bullet was a poem.
Oh okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
I have been, it's like whenever I will forget to write lyrics up until the day of practice, I'm like, oh shit, and I'll go sit down sit on the crapper at work and write it out as fast as I can.
right.
whatever I can come up
I gotta
with.
have something.
But yeah, that's.
Do you work out vocal melodies at all at practice, or is that like literally?
We need to do a little more of that, but I've the last 2 songs I've been able to come up with pretty well on my own.
Yeah.
But, I honestly, being a punk guy, I never thought of melodies the way that I do now.
Sure.
After just the last few months of practice, I've now I can actually start hearing melodies over songs instead
Yeah.
of just like I usually just go with the riff or with the beat,
Mhm.
But
What about your solos, Noah? Like, do those I'm sure you work meticulously to make it what you want it to be.
It's not necessarily. Usually what will happen is we'll play it at practice and we'll have like the designated solo section, and I'll
Yeah.
come up with something on the spot, and
Right.
I may take that home and develop it into something else. But sometimes to sit down and figure out specific things, like the song called "The Cynic," the main solo in that song. I remember trying to write something really weird and different. But other times it's just whatever fits the song, and the intro and outro solos on "Guilty by Association" were completely improvised in the studio, and then the song "Black, White, and Blood," all those solos were improv too. So it just depends on the vibe of the song and what I want to do with it.
Did you have to go back and listen to them and figure out how to play them after you improvised them, or do you not care? You're just like, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do.
No, there's a couple, like the "Black, White, and Blood" solo. We've been playing these songs live for like a year now, so I've kind of done a lot of little different things as you do live.
Right.
But there was the Cynic. I wasn't playing. I think I wasn't playing the solos for a minute.
For the Cynic?
No, like the verse, like the pre-verse or pre-chorus solos, whatever. because it was
yeah.
just me and I wanted to play the riff. But then when
Yeah.
I went back, I was like, I should learn these properly because I haven't been playing them correctly. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
there had-
remember that day. Yeah,
there was a little bit of that, but I mean, some like this, the solo Hatespiration, like that's kind of, it's not so shreddy that I can remember it from the day I wrote it, you know?
Right.
So
I remember hearing the Blood Trail solo for the first time. Like that solo, like really makes you like. I can almost feel what you're feeling. I can understand what you're
Thank you,
thinking
Tony.
when you were writing it.
I don't remember when I wrote that or where I wrote that. It had to be one. I think it was one of those things where we had the chord structure, and it's a really easy background to write a solo like that over.
Right.
So I just did what came naturally, I think.
How do your drum parts usually come about, Benny? Is it a lot of, once again, is it a lot of banging it out in the practice space, or is it a matter of like you get the feel for what the songs are going to be and then you think about it a little bit and then you come back to practice and you've got a little bit more flair?
Typically, I guess like getting the structure isn't the hardest part because like that kind of comes with it, and then I'll definitely change it. Like I'll kind of just like be like, okay, let's just play through it,
Yeah.
just to see what it feels like, and then I'll definitely change it, the structure, and then I won't play any fills. I'll try, and they'll sound like shit,
Interesting.
and then we'll play it again, and typically we would like record it off like one of our phones and like voice memos,
Sure.
and then I'm like, okay, I can hear that, or I'll listen to like some of my favorite bands and kind of like think about a drum part and be like, okay, I can put something like that in there.
Right.
Or like, I think my best example is like for Phil's putting that in there is at the end of Waste of Skin, which is the 5th song on our first EP. The whole ending drum part was from a live Hell Yeah video, and it was a shot behind Vinnie Paul,
Oh, wow.
and it was just something he did at the end of the song. It wasn't even a part of the song, and
Right.
I was like, I'm gonna use that, so I
Yeah.
just did.
I like that. I'm going to do that.
Yeah, so I would just sometimes I just listen to live shit that's not on the recording, and I'm like, well, it's not recorded, so and no one will know what it's from.
Right.
Or some people might take a part from an actual song and put it in their solo.
Yeah.
The Conjuring. Waste of Skin.
I remember when we recorded with Apocalypse, when we recorded MTD, we didn't realize till after it was recorded that the riff sounds just like Battery.
Oh,
my
no.
God.
It's recorded and done, and it's like, oh shit, that is Battery.
Might be getting a call from Larson.
Yeah, he's like, where's my fucking money?
Yeah.
Where's my fucking money, man?
Well, one of the things I definitely wanted to have you guys in to talk about is last month before your show, about it, what was it, like a week or two before your show, actually Screamin' Scott had come in and we were going to record Motor City Riffs, and he said something about, hey, the guys from Cyadine had their gear stolen.
Yeah.
And I said, what? I was just on their Facebook. I didn't see anything about that. And then I went back and looked. I was like, oh my God, it had like, what happened?
I got my car stolen.
Okay.
And okay, my girlfriend Meg for like a month was like, hey, the shit's in the car. Take it out of the car. And I'm like, okay.
It's
And then
one
I
of those
just-
things that goes in one ear.
I forget about it. And then, of course, I go to work and I'm like, I'm going to get up early this morning because it was a Saturday and it was mandatory. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to work really fucking early. And then I'm going to go to my girlfriend's family Christmas in Standish.
Okay.
And when outside, my car wasn't there. I was like, where's my car? So I'm like walking on our lot like a dumbass. And I'm like, oh yeah, maybe my stepdad moved it even though he doesn't have keys to it. And no, I just called my mom, was like, yeah, my car's not here.
Yeah.
So we made a police report and all. Like, it was both of our banners, our in-ear system, which we still haven't used yet, Shane's bass, and like a bunch of my personal shit. And they didn't find it for like a week, and then they found it a mile away.
A mile away?
Actually not even a mile away. What would you say from the building?
Probably half mile.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right under
If
our
that.
noses.
Because it's right behind the Valero.
What the hell?
And
So-
somehow they couldn't find out who did it.
Yeah.
They didn't. Well, they probably just didn't care. They're like, oh, there's the car.
Someone
Fuck
needs
you.
an ass
Right.
beating for
But
it.
no, everything
Gotta
was in there with
learn.
the bass.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe my catalytic converter wasn't there.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but like they left the banners. They left you said the bass guitar was gone.
Yeah, that was it.
Shane's pissed.
Yeah, well, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Shane's pissed.
Yeah, it was not good. It's still not. I mean, I have a new car, which is kind of like
Right.
Thank you to everyone who donated. Thank you so
that's
much.
literally
yeah,
a
that's-
lifesaver.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
it helped me with my car too.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a new banner with it. Shane still got to get his new bass.
So he didn't have like his amp or anything in there. Like just the bass
No.
guitar was in there.
Yeah, and
and your drums weren't anywhere in there.
no,
either?
I had felt horrible because I'm like, oh my god. If it was just my stuff, I would have been like, damn, that sucks.
Right, exactly. But the fact that like somebody else's stuff was in there.
And then of course after everyone's just like, oh, you learned your lesson. I'm like, fuck you didn't get your car stolen. Like,
Right.
yeah, I know.
That pissed
Like,
me off.
Right.
hey, I was pissed. I'm
You
like,
should be able to have whatever you want in your car and not have to worry about it getting
yeah.
stolen.
And they're like, well,
Well,
you
yeah,
can.
that's
I'm
You
like,
should.
I know.
I agree.
Like, I didn't
Right.
plan to get my car stolen. I know I shouldn't have left it in there.
right. But it's obviously it's the kind of thing that's traumatizing. So it'll be
Oh
like
yeah.
Right.
somebody, you know, next time Noah wants to like leave his guitars or something in your car overnight, you're gonna be like, no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I've
yeah.
noticed
No, it's not happening.
For
everywhere.
real.
I'm not responsible for that.
I mean, shit. I have donations stuff in my car, and I'm like, oh, this is in my car.
Yeah.
And it's donations. I'm getting rid
Right.
of it, and I'm still like, oh, but it's in my car.
You're doing
Yeah.
double takes. You're like, nah, I better grab it.
Everywhere we go now he's so adamant to lock his car.
Oh,
so
yeah,
adamant
like
to
we
make sure
went-
things
I
are
bet.
locked down.
We start taking the Cadillac converter off. Right, and putting it back on.
we're gonna fuck with him. Well, we did this live set with David Maseveth, and it's called the Oxide Sessions. We did it at Tuxedo Recording Studio, and we haven't released it yet, but we parked the trailer right behind the building, and the whole time I'm like, did you guys lock the car? Did you guys lock the
Yeah,
car?
I'm sure.
Is my car still there? Like,
Yeah.
go out and check on it.
No, my wife had her car stolen a couple of years ago, and she does photography stuff, and it was like
Oh.
it was a very
That shit
similar
gets
thing.
expensive.
Yeah.
It was a very similar thing where like the car went missing for maybe a week, and then they found it downtown somewhere with the Cadillac converter gone
course.
or whatever. But then you open the trunk and everything was still there.
It's like, just take it off from
Like they
your home.
they
just
did
like
not.
just
The
take it while you're
converters
home.
aren't
Like
even
that's what happened to my
worth that much
brother.
money anymore.
Yeah.
And like junkyards don't take them the way they used to. You know.
No.
Right.
Like Eddie got his catalytic converter stolen at the house when we were still there. But I'm like, okay, they didn't take his car. Like, just take it at the front of the house. Like, it sucks, but I'd rather you take that than my car.
Yeah.
I've
right.
seen, like at scrap yards that I've been to, I've seen like signs like no catalytic converter. Like, we're not paying you for it.
Right. Right.
I
Because
know where it came from.
yeah, they know how it works now and
Yeah.
what's been going on. So thankfully, like you said, like you got a new car.
Yeah.
Shane's going to be getting a new bass, I would
Right.
imagine. So what did he play when you guys had your release party show?
Well, I'm literally so lucky because he has a really expensive Spectre, and it wasn't that one. It was
Okay.
his old Stingray. But so he has so many basses and guitars for no
Yeah.
reason.
Thank God it was just a backup, but
You buy
still.
another one on Friday.
Yeah, it
Still.
still
Yeah.
sucks. It's still awful.
Yeah, I was still like, it's still his bass. It's
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like I said, I think we had planned to play you that week, and you play you guys on Motor City Riffs, and I'd sent the email out or whatever, and the
Yeah.
screamer's like, yeah, somebody stole his car. I was like, no, they didn't. I was just looking stuff up yesterday. It was
Right.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's fine. It's just amazing how much fast things can get fucked up.
Oh yeah.
Right, for sure. That's a song in the making, right?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, yeah.
You have no
Actually,
idea.
yeah.
Actually, you just gave me a good idea.
So what with 2023 just started, what does the year look like for Cyadine? What
So
do you guys got
good.
planned?
So good.
Recording new stuff with him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very soon. Very soon.
Yeah.
Weeks
Um,
soon.
Promoting Formidable. So make sure everyone streams it and shares it and tells your friends. And we're going to be in a bunch of new merch, playing a bunch of shows. It would be nice to tour.
Yes, I
That'd
would
be
love
so-
to tour.
Really be cool to tour.
We're trying to work that out. We'll see. So
If you guys do a tour, what do you do? Like? Are you just going to do kind of like a mini tour like most local bands do, and like just hit a few states,
We
do
go
a week or
big.
two, and then
We go big.
Oh,
Everything we do. we
shut
go
up.
big.
Shut up. No, I don't know. It depends on what happens because we got a couple things in the works, right?
yeah.
yeah.
That's
things,
the thing. We have a
things
lot of
that aren't
stuff.
confirmed.
We got a lot of wheels turning. but
Interesting.
Stuff that we're not ready to
Cool.
put
Well,
out yet.
if people want to keep up with you so they can see when you guys announce this stuff, where can people find this information online?
The website, our website,
What is
Yeah.
the website?
Cyadine.com.
We got it.
CYA.
I pay for it every month.
Yeah. And then our Instagram, Cyadine_official still, I think. I don't know if there's underscore
For
anymore.
what?
For Instagram.
Be able to find it.
Oh, yeah.
You just look up Cyadine and
Yeah,
we're
that's
Cyadine
what
on
it comes up.
Facebook. We're on Twitter.
They won't correct you. It's not Google.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, but just those three things you'll find us, and we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Music, we're on all that good stuff.
Any other
And
garbage
YouTube.
streaming services?
Any streaming services that you're only making like 2 cents on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
Robbery.
Well, thank you guys for coming in.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
man.
thank you for
It's
having
awesome.
us.
Appreciate it.
I'm looking forward to big things from you guys.
Thank you.
And yeah.
So are we.
Yeah. It'll be fun. This year will be great.